Do I have a filter? Hey everybody. Hi. How are you? I hope everyone's having a great evening. Hope everyone is having a lovely weekend. Not Piper. Yeah, I don't know. Because it looks like this, like it looks, I don't know if it's a filter on this, like, live or what. But it looks like I got makeup on. Like, my face looks super, like, shiny. I don't know. But y'all, don't get me started on Piper. Not today. Because I have caused quite the little frenzy in the, on one of my videos. People been going back and forth, kind of talking about, like, whether Piper was stronger than Phoebe, and the Piper being the strongest sister as a whole. And I'm just like, okay, all right, we just kind of doing whatever we want to do, but I'm just gonna be quiet on that. So I've just kind of decided not to even, like, get into that, so. And I hate saying that. Like, I really hate saying that. I hate being like, I don't want to talk about her, but anyway, because I love all the sisters. Hey, hi Terry7. Hi. Did you say Santana? But anyway, okay. Even though magically they all supposed to be powerful, but okay. So here's my thing. This is the only thing I'm gonna say about it, and then I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna go from there. So, in on the show, they say that Prue was the strongest because she was the oldest. Hey, Caroline, 1970-50. They say Prue was the oldest, so she was the strongest because the magic of the oldest is, the most powerful. And I mean, whatever. Like, if you want to, okay, I'm gonna take that at face value because that's what them people said. But then people are like, oh, when Prue died, Piper became the most powerful. I don't think it works like that. Like, I don't think you just get to be the oldest born because the oldest born died. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what doesn't make sense to me. For me personally, that's what doesn't make sense. I think the logic is flawed. The most skilled should have been the strongest or most powerful. Exactly. Now, here's my problem with power, quote unquote power, in the Charmed universe, right? In the Charmed universe, power is one of those things that's so, I feel like, abstract that it's difficult to sort of gauge it at certain points or define it. I'm going to say define. I'm not going to say gauge. I'm going to say define. Hi, Terry7. Yes. Okay. Here's the thing about that, though. They do the same thing with Piper. So Hi, Terry7 said people think Prue was the strongest because her power was physical or brawn over brain, typical of society. They do the same exact thing with Piper. That's where the problem comes in, because people see the firepower and they're like, they see her blown up ability and I don't know why I called it blown up ability, but they see that and they're like, oh, she's the most powerful, she's mama, she's this, she's that. And it's the same thing with Prue. It's the same concept with Prue. It's like, having that doesn't necessarily make you the most powerful. It means that you have the most powerful offensive power, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you are the most powerful. So I don't know. Hey, the Ricardo _ I don't know. That's my whole thing. And so back to what I was saying before with, like, the power being, like, weird, is like, you have these physical powers. Hey, Joey the Star. Hi, your man Leon. Not your man Leon. Jesus. Lord. Piper was always powerful, and I think she was the most grounded, and her reluctance to magic made her. Okay, give me a second. Let me process that, because she was always powerful, and I think she was the most grounded, and her reluctance to magic made her better. I don't understand what you mean. Like, I understand what you mean that Piper was always powerful, because obviously, I mean, I 100%, like, I would never say she's not powerful. You know, I make jokes and stuff, but she's a charmed one. She's automatically a powerful witch, like, off rip. I don't understand what you mean by her reluctance to magic made her better. Favorite horror movie? Oh, baby, I don't watch horror movies. I don't watch horror movies, darling. The only one I ever watched that I was like okay with, I watched Halloween, uh, whichever the one, Seed of Chucky, and that's it. Which is why demons had to come together and try to outsmart them. Exactly. The demons were not individually powerful enough to do anything against him. So that makes sense to me. Like, when you start talking about collective powers, things like that, fully understand. Charmed ones are gonna top, like random demons or whatever. But when you start talking about like individual powers, I'm not gonna sit here and say to you that I think Paige was more powerful than Phoebe, or Phoebe was more powerful than Prue, or Piper was more powerful than Paige, or because from a magic standpoint, to me, this is for me. Let me go back. Let me double back. This is all in my head. This has nothing to do with the show, what the show has told us, anything like that. This is all in my head. This is my like personal viewpoint. I think when it comes to like their magic outside of their active power, I think they're all on the same level. That's me. That's my personal level. My personal thought. Because I feel like you can't not be all on the same level to some extent. Like, the Power 3 wouldn't work if they weren't all on the same level. To me. Now that goes for innate magic, like, casting spells, stuff like that. Like, let's say, okay, those demons from season 5 that were stealing Paige's magic, what were they? The ones at the demonic market, what were they called? Because I don't remember what they were called. But them, like, when they were siphoning off her magic, I feel like if we were measuring it in terms of that, I feel like all 4 of them would be on the same level. Now, I don't know how to account for like Prue's oldest boost, because I kind of felt like I always kind of got the impression that like the magic of the oldest just held more esteem. Unless you count Wyatt, I don't know. I gotta come back to my thought process on that one, because that one is a little bit more spicy for me to try to navigate, like, off top of my head. And y'all, there are a lot of comments right now, so I'm trying to catch up. So if I'm not answering like y'all's question, I apologize. I promise you, I'm not ignoring nobody. I got caught up in talking, so I'm sorry, y'all. I just meant her being logical helped her out of a lot, and I feel like the others are more impulsive. I want to think about that, because I could see that. I could see that, because I kind of feel like Piper never really got into stuff, and like, I need to kind of think about more how I want to phrase it, because I feel like that goes back to what you're saying. Like, the other sisters, they were more impulsive. They were trying to save an innocent. They were trying to do this and that. They were trying to whatever. Whereas Piper would just be like chilling. So I could see that. I could see what you're saying. Oh yeah, Prue was super impulsive. What they eat you up on Twitter about, Collins, the Vampire Slayer? Because I wanted to invite you to this live. I wanted to invite you, like, to talk. But I know you don't fool with me like that, so. Oh yeah, Phoebe, bless her heart. Phoebe was very... Phoebe and Paige. Okay. Prue, Phoebe, and Paige are like all 3 of them. But I'm trying to think, as far as like headstrong, impulsive, almost think I would put Paige as the most impulsive one, because Paige was the one that was most likely to like go do whatever she was gonna do. Like, she was gonna worry about it, but then she was gonna be like, okay, never mind. Like the whole Cole thing. I mean, look at that. Okay, that's different. That one is different because Barbas had been manipulating her for quite some time to make her want to prove herself to her sisters. That's a different situation. I can't use it. I can't use it. Woo, child. Y'all giving me a lot of comments. Y'all, I promise you. I promise you I am trying to keep up with the comments, but I'm also trying to talk. So y'all giving me a lot. And I appreciate it. I love the fact that y'all are giving me this. I'm here for it. This is what we're here for. I just need to catch up. Y'all, I got my hair cut today too. Y'all see all this gray? I'm 31. I don't know why I can't do it. 31. And look at all this gray. Baby, listen. I look like Barbas came and scared me. Okay? I'm looking like the demon of fear got to me. Alright. Let's look at some of these comments. Let's see. Hey, Phoebe's ex-boyfriend. People also forget Phoebe was an empath before Prue. Phoebe wasn't an empath before Prue? What? Huh? I need to understand what you mean by that, because Phoebe... I don't remember Phoebe being an empath before Prue. I mean, unless you count the future visit, but... Or are you talking about when she was, like, connecting to people? I don't know. Paige is technically the most powerful out of the charmed ones, having the most powers. See, and that's what I mean. Okay, so... Okay. There's... Why do my eyes keep watering? So, there's two different kinds of, like, most powerfuls that I think people tend to focus on. The most powerful as in, like, who has the most powers, and then the most powerful as in who has, like, the biggest power that can be used. So, in terms of most powers, it's going to Paige because of her white lighter witch powers. But, I mean, she mainly got white lighter powers, but that's neither here nor there. The white lighter powers. But when you talk in terms of, like, offensive ability, it's going to Piper. But that's when you start putting specifics of, like, specifics on most powerful instead of saying, like, who's the most powerful. And y'all know I've already told you, I feel like it's Phoebe. I feel like if we're going in terms of, like, what the magic is capable of, I'm going with Phoebe all day. Because if nothing else, Phoebe would be able to channel all of their powers and use them against them. So yeah, that's me talking. That ain't got nothing to do with reality. That's my opinion. I wish I could show that video. You know the video of that woman that's screaming like, "That's my opinion." Anyway, do you think Phoebe and Wyatt are still more vulnerable to evil since the Nexus was destroyed? That is a very good question that I do not know the answer to off the top of my head. I would assume so. I mean, because them being born on the Nexus, like, influenced their magic, if that makes any sense. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it influenced their magic and its, nature towards good or evil. So I feel like they're inherently, they could go either way. That's me talking out loud because, again, y'all know your boy is not your boy. Okay, so y'all, let me tell y'all something, because y'all gonna think I'm crazy. Anyway, I really don't feel like I'm smart. I feel like I try to piece things together, and I feel like I just talk a lot of the times. And so that's why sometimes I just be like, okay, let me just shut up, because I feel like I don't know what I'm talking about. But I enjoy putting it out there, and we can just have a discussion about it. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I try to think about things like logically, but then I feel like I overthink it to the point where it doesn't make any sense. So, let's see. Phoebe was the most curious about her craft until Cole. Phoebe was the most curious about the craft until Cole came along, and then she didn't care no more, and then came Paige. So, oh, I wanted to say, somebody said, yeah, but Piper and Paige also took that empath blocking potion. This is true, but what I'm talking about is in terms of them not taking the potion. So I know that's kind of me like saying like, well, but I'm saying without the potion, Phoebe would be able to get, be able to channel all the powers. Now, here's the only other part to that. How well would she be able to use them? And would she be able to use them for like long extended periods of time? Because when we saw her like channel demons' powers, it would be to reflect them back on them. And then when we saw her like channel Piper's telekinesis when she was a Valkyrie, she used it back on her, but it wasn't like she had the power, she was just using the power, which, okay, I will fully admit that if we keep it 100% a book, none of that made any sense. Because how she was able to replicate a power just because she had empathy. If the power is, like, if she had the power of mimicry, then I'd be like, okay, this makes sense. But the fact that she was just, like, literally mimicking people's, I don't know. But I still love that empathy power. That empathy power is everything. Okay, Leo J21. Empathy makes sense because their powers were tied to their emotions. Yes, it does, but I feel like that's a very loose translation. I feel like that's a very, like, I don't know how to, because first off, demons aren't even supposed to have emotions. That's number one. But if we really get into it, it's like being able to tap into their emotions. Why are you? I don't know. I'm just gonna stop because I'm running myself in a circle now, and I'm just gonna hush. I'm looking. I feel like you're right because even if she could feel what they feel, she wouldn't have access to their magic and their powers. That's right. That's kind of what I'm getting at, because it's like, okay, but then okay, so here's the other part of that. In the Charmed universe, I kind of feel like I'm confused. Not confused. I kind of feel like I'm interested to know more about, like, your capacity to use another power. And so what I mean by that is, obviously, we know they can use other powers. Like, when Prue and Phoebe switch powers and Prue was getting premonitions and, Phoebe was flinging people with that weird way she was doing it because she was like... Anyway. But what I mean by that is, are witches able to develop any power? Like, let's say I'm Piper and I'm, I can freeze time or freeze. Huh? Yeah. What was I saying? Yeah, okay, so I'm Piper and I can freeze people and I can blow stuff up. Okay, I'm magical. But would there be any way that I could, like, naturally develop, like, telekinesis? Now, I know what I'm saying is absolutely stupid, but I hope that it gives you, like, some kind of, like, insight into what I'm kind of thinking. Like, how are we just, like, I don't know. So it just makes me think about that. If that warlock could stack up powers, why not witches? I think it's possible. Very, very good point. That is a very, very good point. Because warlocks can do whatever they want. A warlock want to steal your power? Baby, I'm finna steal your power. But then, warlocks... that's another good point. Warlocks were having to kill people for those powers. But Matthew could copy powers. Matthew could copy powers. So, if his natural ability was to copy powers, but we did see other warlocks that would have to kill witches to get their power, it makes me wonder, is copying magic like an innate power? Like, is it an active, or I guess it would be a passive? I don't know. But is that a power in and of itself, or is that something that warlocks have the ability to do? Y'all, I'm not good at explaining things. I'm so sorry. Warlocks were witches who renounced the Wiccan. Okay, here's another monkey in that wrench. So, and we talked about this before, or I've talked about this before, but I was always confused on what the difference between an evil witch and a warlock was, because was, a warlock is a demon. An evil witch just seems like an evil witch, but Grams was vanquishing evil witches. So does that mean Grams was out here vanquishing humans? Think about that. So I don't know. I don't know. So, as Shay Sawyer, the warlock in Murphy's Look, that was not a warlock, that was a dark lighter. Because my boy had that bald head in that suit. He was ready. He was trying to take Amy out. Or whatever her name was. Maggie? Yeah, it was Maggie. Something good luck Maggie. Yeah, it was Maggie. Hence stealing other witches. Yeah. I think people forget that telepathy is an umbrella term. Telepathy takes many forms. I didn't know that. I mean, I didn't. I'm sure, like, I'm sure I'm aware that it could grow into something, but, like, I didn't know. It was just like an umbrella thing. Umbrella girl. Oh, yeah, y'all saying a lot. Yes. Come on, chat. Come on, active chat. Oh, y'all talking about heroes? Listen, I haven't watched that show. I used to love me some heroes. Silas's power, I forget what he could do. I know he could take people's powers, but didn't he have to, like, get it out their brain or something? Like, because I remember he would cut people's heads open, but I don't remember, like, his thing. Because couldn't Jess from Gilmore Girls, what was his name on there? Whatever his name was, the one that was Claire's uncle. What, couldn't he mimic powers too, or something like that? I don't know. I don't know. Collins the Vampire Slayer. The charmed ones should definitely be able to evolve and expand. I 100% agree. And you know this. Let me see. Ooh, I sent you an invite. And if you don't accept it, we're not friends anymore. Peter, that was his name. That was his name. Peter Petrelli. Hello, Collins the Vampire Slayer.
Hello, how are you?
I'm
Er,
good. Why do you sound sick?
I am sick. Tired
Oh, child.
of
Enough.
trying to take me out. Save. There we
Who
go.
trying to take you out?
They try to take me out.
I'm not gonna say who,
I
cause
don't know who, but nah. What I was talking about is if you go to my Twitter, I tweeted, that little tweet that says, "I'm sorry, I didn't speak to everybody. Hey, how y'all doing? Hope y'all doing well." That tweet, and it said, "My son can't be gay. He's obsessed with women." And I, tweeted all the pictures of the sisters. And did you know that somebody tweeted me? And it was funny. It really caught me off guard. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Let me find it. I'm gonna try not to cuss. Well, no, I'm gonna cuss because like it's got to be the full effect. So
not the full effect,
it's
child.
the full effect. I literally had somebody call me like, "Do you know that person?" I said, "I swear to God, I don't know that person."
A child?
Oh, here we go. All right. They said your black ass didn't find any black bad bitches to put up there. And I said, okay, there's a lot wrong with this, but the only thing I said was, excuse me? Like they came
Right.
out the gate, I swear to God, and I was laughing. And then they literally asked me, "Were white women your gay awakening?" And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, I don't even think you can say that in 2023. I'm a little bit offended, like.
I mean, just a little bit.
And
Just a
then
little bit.
I responded, and I said, "Name some '90s black women who were magical and battled monsters quickly. Point them
Mm-hmm.
out to me, please." So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so
That is so true. That is so true because, babe, but like I said, them people get on Twitter and they get behind them keyboards and they get to going crazy, and it's like, okay, baby, I ain't got nothing to do with them. I don't know what to tell you.
them keyboard warriors. I said, okay, I just thought that it was just a cute little tweet. You know, we all, my
Mm-hmm.
family, they used to pick at me, oh, he's in love. He like them white women. I'm like, I want to be those white women. What are you talking about? So,
That part. That part.
Lord have
Baby,
mercy.
my people, my friends done got to telling me I'm gonna marry a white man. I said, well, who knows? Who knows what the future may hold?
Child, who knows what it holds for any of us. So,
So the fact that there were like, the fact that there were like 40 people in here at one point, and it was just like a mass drop off. I feel like I said Phoebe was the strongest in my head, and everybody was, they just checked out and they were like, no, I'm not doing this today.
child, Phoebe is the strongest, though.
I mean, quiet as it's kept. She is. Quiet as it's kept. She is. I don't know. I don't know how Terry said and why people would leave. I do not know why people left. I guess maybe they saw my face and said, mm-mm.
Bye. Oh, your haircut, you look very handsome. I love your haircut. So, but I'm going to need you to grow your hair back out, though.
No, not
Yes.
right now. Baby,
Yes.
no.
You
I
need
ain't
to
got
grow your
time for
hair
all of
back out.
that
You
because
need to grow your hair back out. You need to be back in your Page red hair era.
I did miss it. You know what?
Yeah, you were
I would
powerful.
absolutely.
You were powerful. You couldn't be stopped.
I would absolutely dye the top of my head red
Mm-hmm.
again, that burnt
Mm-hmm.
orange,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. I don't know. I like the ombre effect it have.
Okay. The
If
sizzle
only
effect.
Piper had more fight scenes in that one kick in season 4. Child, let me hush. Let me see what this other person talking about
I
because
think that kick was motivated by something. I'm not too sure about what, but
we all know what it was, but we're not gonna say it in this chat because I'm not trying to get. Bayou Brit. What do you mean? It's just she doesn't have the effects? Because I think I know I'm missing a lot in the chat, child. Because these people is commenting. Prue would have been the strongest, but Phoebe became the strongest.
I mean, in terms of raw power, that's going to be debatable because a lot of people would have said that Piper would have been the strongest because she could blow stuff up. So, I mean, I guess it just really depends on your term. I think of power as like versatility. And it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and I hate to say it, but it's like even with Piper or with Prue, they're going to go straight at you and that's all they can do. But when
Mhm.
them powers are down, besides Prue magically just learning how to fight in like 2 episodes, they
Mhm.
really can't do much. You know what I'm saying? But Phoebe, she got hands, so she said we don't need no stinking power. So, you know,
Mhm.
and even
Mhm.
Paige, she can grow 6 inches and grow muscles and hit you with a baseball bat. So
Anyway, we moving on. So, Bayou Brit said something that I absolutely agree with. If
hmm
Phoebe had the special effects like her sisters on screen, they would have respected her power. And I 100% agree with that.
I can see that.
100% agree with that. Because that's why I feel like people who say that Piper is the strongest are going so based solely off the fact that they can see her explosion power and what it can do. But they don't look past like the physical. And I feel like that's why a lot of people felt like Prue was the strongest in the earlier seasons was because she had the only offensive power. The only one. And, even though Phoebe was kickboxing Barbie, Prue was still the most powerful one because she could do things in and of herself without
Right,
having to like cast a spell. So
right. I can definitely see that.
Mm-hmm. But Prue could fight too. It was Piper that only put them hands up. Baby, let me tell you something. When season 3 came around and all of a sudden Prue could fight, like she had gone to every single kickboxing class that had ever existed. And I said, huh?
Was fighting better than Phoebe, which we saw Phoebe actually train to fight, and then all of a sudden Prue woke up and said, "I like that." And I'm like, not Prue became Kakashi, just magically copied her abilities. I know that's right.
Baby, let me tell you something. When my Prudence Aloysius Hallowell,
Cassandra.
Aloysius lifted
Cassandra.
herself, anyway, lifted herself up that wall for absolutely no reason when she was training with Natalie, I said, leave me alone. Leave
That's
me
because
alone.
Natalie told her to. Natalie said, "You better run and you better do it right now." And Prue shut her ass up and got her ass up that wall. So
I mean, low-key, that's what it was given because the fact that, like, I've always wondered, like, what was the point? Like, at least when Piper was doing them little half-ass flips, you know, that little somersault she did, that wasn't really a
no, wait,
somersault.
not half ass. Piper was getting it. Piper was, but she was. I was afraid of Piper. Piper was training. She was ready for war. I thought I was looking at Phoebe.
Okay, we finna end this. Okay, good night, y'all. Because I'm turning this off. Let me turn these people's app off because you don't. But okay, so here's another thing that I wanted to say. Here's another thing I wanted to say because earlier I made a video and was talking about like the fact that Piper was able to summon, whatever. Okay, let me get my thoughts together because I'm trying to read and talk at the same time and I can't do two things at once. Okay. I made a video earlier where I was talking about the fact that Phoebe had to have the power of 3 to summon Angela um in season 4, with the ghost summoning spell. But, every other time they did it, it was by themselves. And so people made good points. There were people who made good points about the fact that maybe it was because it was magic to magic, and magic to magic is easy, or blood to blood is easier than just summoning like a mortal. But then someone, and I don't remember who it was, like, Lord forgive me, somebody was like, because you're summoning them from 2 separate heavens. And I was like, huh? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? 2 separate heavens? Like, they were like, there's a witch heaven and a mortal heaven. And I was like, okay, now we just splitting hairs at this point.
I thought you talked about segregation. 'Cause I thought that was more black. I was like, wait.
That's what it was given. That's what it was given. It was giving very much.
Wait a minute.
It was giving a very much y'all over here, we over here. Like I was like, okay. And Mr. Mac 12345, it was a seance that they did in season 3, and then I think Paige did another seance in season 6. But every other time they did it, it was just like to summon the dead. Even when they summoned Angela, it was to summon the dead.
So
Like, and to say it was a seance is one thing, but they literally had a spell for a seance, if that makes any sense. Like, that's the only reason I can differentiate those two in my mind, is like they literally had a seance spell. So child, I don't know. I don't know. Let me hush.
I saw your points on that, and I wanted to interject and say, did Piper actually summon Grams, or did they allow Grams to come to Piper to explain the situation?
That's a good point because the way I took it, I'm not
Uh
saying
huh.
this is what happened. I'm saying the
Uh
way
huh.
I took it was
Uh huh.
when she tried to summon Prue, and I'm not good at explaining stuff, so that's why sometimes when I make videos, I probably need to go back and kind of redo it a little bit. But the way I took it was she was trying to summon Prue, and Grams intercepted. Now, how Grams intercepted, I don't know, but that was the way they kind of made it seem. Was like
Let us
she
know.
came instead of Prue because she heard the call and was like, "Let me take my black ass down there."
Because Grams got that call while she was at the store minding her business. She said, "Let me go check on this girl, see what she wants."
Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. Okay. I'm seeing still in the comments that a seance is different from summoning a spirit. I need somebody to explain that to me because okay, let me think. Let me think for a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. Because I'm assuming that the difference between the two, when they would do like the seance, they were talking to the spirit as a spirit. So like Ariel, Angela, what was the bitch's name? Olivia. They talked to them as spirits instead of summoning them to this plane. Okay, fine. I can. Okay, okay. And then when they would summon the dead to come to them, even that still kind of is dicey because initially when they would cast a spell, it was like when they first like called Patty, when they called Patty and Grams, they came to them as spirits. They didn't summon them like to the physical realm. They summoned them as spirits. But then somehow they started being able to step outside the candles and then they became corporeal and I so it's like I see the distinction, but then I kind of don't at the same time. And I would also think that it would be easier to summon a spirit to talk to the spirit than it would be to bring a spirit to the physical plane. So I would think that to bring a spirit to the physical plane, you would need the power of three. Whereas just talking to a spirit, just whatever. I don't know. I'm a hush because that makes sense. Like now I kind of see the difference between the two. Not that someone has said that, and I'm kind of like talking out loud.
Oh, well, that's what I was gonna say. I believe a seance is just communication, basically. And then
Hmm.
if you summon somebody, that may or may not become corporeal. Now, Grams is the exception because Grams never stayed dead for too long. So, she popped up when she wanted to. So,
Baby Grams did whatever she wanted to do.
okay.
Okay. But see, okay, I still don't understand from okay, again, this is me being slow, y'all. But I still don't understand like why it would take more power to bring a spirit forward than it would to bring them to the physical plane.
Maybe it's because it's like ancestral or like familial magic, so it's easier because it's like blood to blood, like you said earlier.
Yeah, that would make more sense.
So I do like the
Yeah.
idea of two separate heavens, though. So I mean, you got
Shut up. Shut
you got regular people heaven over there that and then you got good heaven. So I don't know.
I hate you so much, bro.
What? I
I
like
hate
that
you
idea.
so much. I really hate you. I really hate you. See, okay, now Mr. Mac 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is confusing me because now he's saying blood to blood needs the power of three and raising the dead just needs magic. Oh, see, so
Buffy going to super heaven, so that's where she going. So yeah, Buffy deserve all the things. She going to top notch heaven, level 5 heaven. I don't know. Well, you see, but that's interesting because like they never really explained heaven and charmed, but they never did it at Buffy either. But what I liked was my girl was like, I was just energy. I was cool and like I ain't know what was going on, but I was happy. Y'all were good, and I ain't feel nothing. I had no bills to pay, and I was cool.
and you know what though? But what I do kind of like about it is the fact that they did explain that there were multiple heaven and hell dimensions. I
Right,
did like that. So like they did
right.
kind of go into it a little bit. They didn't deep dive, but they did kind of let us know that they had like different dimensions. Whereas with Charmed, it was like when somebody said witch heaven, I was like, what? I was like, baby,
Child,
we are just making stuff up as we go.
I'd be scared because what about what's real petty if you die and you a witch and the elders have to decide if you get to go to heaven and like you one of the witches that like you disobeyed the order and then you end up in hell after you spent all your life fighting demons.
Okay.
Somebody got to tell me something. Oh,
Okay. And then And then
Oh,
you remember like whenever we would see other witches and stuff like on the show, like Ariel, that lady from season one that got killed in the first episode, all of that, you know, they would be doing rituals and stuff. They'd be like remember Ariel was like, don't interrupt me during ritual. Like I feel like it was just Wiccan duties that they had to do, and the Charmed ones just said, we're not doing that. I feel like they knew about it and just said, I'm not doing them. I'm not gonna sit down with candles every other week talking about some I'm not doing that.
you remember they were picking at Natalie and they were talking about, oh yeah, the books in the secret altar room, and then they started laughing and said the attic. You see, that's when, and I'm not saying, Lord forgive me, I know y'all gonna be like, Collins, you wrong. If Natalie had backhanded the mess out of Piper and Prue, I would understand because you doing too much. I know you the charmed ones, but you need to calm down. You're not gonna laugh on my face about what you're supposed to be doing. I'm sorry, okay?
When Prudence looked at woman and said, "Yeah, I'm gonna go right up to the altar room that's right next to the potions lab, and I'll be right back." Don't play with me like that. Don't play with Nat like that. Like, don't
Okay.
you ever? I was like, don't you
And I know
ever.
when Prue died, and she was looking up, and Natalie was looking down at her and said, "See what happened? You see what happened?"
Nat Nat said when you do clown behavior, the clown comes back to
Okay.
bite. Okay,
It's a little hot down there, ain't it? Okay.
it's a
Yeah.
little warm. You need some air. You need some water. You need a little drink. But you know what was always funny to me? Prue got this whole telekinetic ability and could have sent Natalie flying across the room. Why did my girl get ready to jump over that table with that constipated song? Prudence. Just throw the woman. Come on
Sometimes
now.
Prue be
What are we
doing too
trying to
much
jump across the table to prove?
because she just want to prove that she can fight. Like, girl, we get it. Like, they wrote you that you could fight. We get it. Okay. Like, calm down. Like, I don't know. Well, it's just like when they had to go to the alternate plane to save Phoebe when she was getting the back shots when she was linked up.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop
And
it.
then all of a sudden, Prue know how to ride a horse and shoot. I said, now wait a minute.
Yeah, when she started shooting them guns, I said, okay. I said we have gone insane. We have gone insane. There is no way that Prudence Halliwell knows how to shoot guns. There is no way. None. Like, I'm sorry. Typically, I'm not gonna say like, oh, a character couldn't. There is no way that Prue would have known how to shoot guns. It is impossible in my mind that she would have known how to shoot guns
My girl was
ever.
riding a horse, had that lasso that man. I said, you know what? At this point, it just need to be Prue show because
But you know what tickled me? After all of that, when she used her telekinesis, so I said, wait a minute, hold up. So she got her magic on this plane, but y'all got her lassoing and using her magic gauntlets of truth and all this and that, like she Wonder Woman and she's shooting people and jumping off horses and all this and that. But then you telling me she still got her powers and didn't use them? Leave me alone.
you know. And the more we talk about it, you know, it's easy to stand Prue, but sometimes Prue really did kind of get on my nerves. Now, don't get me wrong, I love
Oh
Prue
yeah, yeah,
Cassandra, but it's like. You remember when in Miss Hellfire episode when she was like, "We're gonna go show Barbara's his worst nightmare," and then they walked in and Piper froze them and they stood there. And I
yeah.
was like, "What's?"
Yes.
I said, "What's about to happen?"
What what you gonna do? Or what you gonna do? Because the thing is, and you know, I've talked about this before. My thing is like I completely understand why people didn't like Prue in season 3 because they made her too good at everything. Like they literally made her good at everything. I'm like, but then when it would count, she low key wouldn't do nothing. Like, okay, a good example for me is Abby, her little stalker, because when she was sending them astral peruse as a distraction, and I was like, that's the best you got? Instead of doing a spell to get your eyesight back, you sending astral peruse talking about, hey freak, get away from me.
Bro, you out here fighting 4 or 5 demons at one time by yourself, picking up stuff, but then you letting this stalker hoe out here just beat you up. I'm like, you ain't embarrassed. I'm like, you should have got shot for that.
Now, me personally, thank you, Jay Bryce 89. Look at me. I do look nice on my haircut. I
You
do.
do.
But and me and Fred went to go eat today.
How's Frederick?
Frederick is doing just fine.
Good.
Fred is my friend, y'all. Don't get too excited. Um, it was fun. I was like, ugh. But yeah. So anyway, child, when I tell you, I was sitting there like, why was Prudence up here doing all of this and not casting some kind of spell. And like imagine not like Orion said, imagine not calling Leo when you're blinded. Okay, well Leo wasn't gonna be able to do it do nothing no way because
I
Leo
love
was
him.
useless.
Leo probably show up and he'll get blinded too. So
Yeah, Leo
he
ain't
almost
nothing.
the grandmas almost took him out. So he killed one of them, and then the other one started choking him. I'm like,
Hmm.
and my thing is, I'm like, Leo, you already dead. So what you choking from?
Okay. Oh wait. Because I need to say something to Phoebe's ex-boyfriend because that's my friend. I don't know my friend's name, but that's my friend. Everybody my friend. They say it's. I think it's in some scenarios it's hard to think of a spell. Okay, let me just let me just stop because Phoebe Latasha Halliwell is the
Oh,
same one.
Natasha.
You remember when in high school reunion when that man was like making her use magic and my girl was sitting there looking like her drawers were going up in there because she was so nervous and she was clenched and that thong was probably touching her
But she
kidney
look good though.
and she looked good and my girl was
Hmm.
kneeling and she said, make them see what cannot be, flames that leap to make them flee, off the top of her head. My girl came up with that off the top
But
of her head.
if Phoebe said it, Phoebe wrote it. So I'm like, that's the difference. See, and that's why again it goes back to powerful. Now at the end of the day, you prove she good. She could throw a hand. She could throw a punch. She could throw a hand. She could throw somebody. But at case in point, when the shit comes down to it, your most basic witch power, are you gonna be able to handle the pressure? There's been a lot of times Phoebe been like, when they had to break into that school to save that boy, and then that why we did a spell, and Phoebe said, something no magic block. Rasta Dome. Okay,
And
she's a
now, was
writer.
that
That's what
spell
she
stupid?
does.
Yes. Did it work? No. But she came up with it off the top of her head. And then
Because
remember when they were
Paige had to shine with that
Paige.
that iconic haiku. Okay,
And so also the episode
Ludlow is vanquished. Okay, God.
and so also um the episode where see now you done made me lose it. Oh, when they were little and she was like let me tell you something about Phoebe. When Phoebe would get in her bag with that writing, she would be in her bag. When
Okay.
my girl was like, y'all repeat after me. Bigger mind, smaller what?
But you know what?
I
As
said,
much as
yes,
I love
ma'am.
that spell, don't even get me started. But I'm sorry, but Paige got that ass together. She said, "You been stuck here all day. It took you all day to think of that." Oh my God! I'm sorry. Paige used to eat them up. Like Paige used to be. Paige was not here for the bullshit. She wasn't okay.
So, okay, this was my thing with Paige. So, first and foremost, somebody told me the other day, who was it? I don't remember which sister they said never wrote a flop spell. And I think it was, they told me, because they said I was sleeping. They said, y'all be sleeping on Paige's haiku. And I was like, not every single spell that everyone writes is gonna be a 100% hit. Like that's just a fact. Like it's not. That's not even like I'm saying like every single one of them were trash. I'm just saying everyone's gonna have a bad spell. Most of the spells Piper wrote was horrible,
I'm about
but
to say both. I did Piper ever have a spell that went right? I mean,
Piper. I mean,
come
prove
on, courage
prove.
spell. Come on, courage
Okay,
spell. I know that's your
Wh-
favorite.
when that hussy stood up there talking about some locked in, boxed in, full of fear.
Shut up.
It sounded like macaroni. It sounded like a recipe for macaroni. Locked in, boxed in, full of fear. Girl, anyway, let me hush. Let me shut up. And then when she was in the when she was under that spell in It's a Bad World and she was writing that spell and she was like, make my sisters happy. Leave me alone. They just lucky that it even worked. Anyway, let me get back on track. Let me get back on track.
Prue was out there writing dissertations
Whenever
for her first spell, which made no damn sense.
who
Prue,
when she
to
did what?
change that girl look, Prue basically said a whole 3 minute song in spell form. I'm like, girl,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you know damn well you had come off with that on top of your head. You thought about
Mm-hmm.
that spell on the way over here.
Now I will tell you the one she used for Viserys. I did like the one she used for Viserys. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but she was like, take the something from the impact. I don't remember what it was. I remember I liked it though. It not saying it was perfect. I'm saying I liked it because liking it and it being perfect are two different things. Because it's like people will fight me to the death when I say that when Phoebe said her part of the Ames vanquishing spell, she said, "I'm rejecting your defection." She didn't say deflection because that's when Alyssa was trying to do all that baby talk and she was trying to be cute and she was like, "I'm rejecting your defection." And she just sat there for a moment like an idiot. So I said, mm. I said, oh, some of the comments in this live were filtered to protect the community's experience. I don't know what they said. Let me see what y'all people up here talking about. Child, I'm gonna say something. Anyway, child. Point being, back to Paige. So Paige wrote some hits. Like I had completely forgotten about that spell she wrote to make Cole feel Phoebe's emotions when she was like, "Open Phoebe's heart to Cole. Something the secret that it holds." I don't know. It was something like that. It was something like that. It was cute. And y'all trying? Okay, let me go back. Savage King too. When I say you saying she said deflection, no. What
Come
I'm
on, Phoebe
saying
Bangs. Not y'all
is
coming from a girl Bangs. The best evil was Phoebe.
who?
Lord have mercy.
Oh, baby, Phoebe's bangs were the evil of the entire show. The entire show. They could have brought Phoebe's bangs back as the evil of season 8, and I would have 100% believed it. Do you understand? Jail time for the hairdresser. Per. Open Phoebe's heart to Cole, reveal the secret that it holds. Open Phoebe's heart to Cole. Oh my god, okay, wait. Open Phoebe's heart to Cole, reveal the secret that it holds. Oh my
So
god, I can't remember the next part. Because I always want to say, but don't protect him from the pain, but that's when she rewrote it for Piper the next season.
the crop tops and fighting in heels, can we talk about it? I do want to talk about it because I do want to ask the live a question. Now, obviously, it's without contest. Page 8, she was the best dresser of the group. That's obvious. What is the ugliest outfit any of the sisters have worn? I'm going to say,
Phoebe and them the
secret
bloomers.
number. There we go. Them damn the bloomers when she was a suffragette when they had to fight the demon that's on the rock of inspiration. Jail time. She had
I,
the hair tied on. I said, why she want to be Angel Mama? Just I'm like, what you got? What direction is the outfit going? It's not giving anything.
when I tell you I hated that outfit with a back. But you know what? People be going over that spell she wrote that episode too, and I hate that. I absolutely hated that spell.
Oh, I
I
love
couldn't.
that spell.
I couldn't stand it. I
I
couldn't stand
love
that
it.
spell. I
That was the
couldn't.
spell. That was a good
Evil
spell.
is a faithful foe, but
But
goodness battle
goodness battle
best.
best. Come
We witches
on.
will with these words waste this warlock's evil zest.
Triple platinum
Shut up.
50,000 with no album out. Come on, Phoebe. Come on, Phoebe Minaj.
Goodbye.
Come on,
Goodbye.
Phoebe
That
Minaj.
sounded like a vanquishing spell from the 1700s.
No, it didn't.
Ye of little faith. Girl, shut up. Shut up.
Well, I mean, she was channeling her ancestors most times. So I mean, if she were now we all know the Hallowell line, the Warren line did not battle evil, but they could write a damn good spell for the next witch to take care of
Now that is true. Now
it.
if them Warrens may not be able to keep a man, but baby, they know how to write a spell, okay? They know how to
Whoever
get
wrote
about.
that, whichever seeker pissed off that Warren witch, oh, that was it. They needed a Grammy, okay? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
or two.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, some of those spells were an absolute banger. Do you understand me? Them
Mm.
spells that they would write, I still to this day want to know though, because I think one of the worst spells on this show, to me, is the
The
Troc Vanquish
frog.
spell. I need to understand who wrote the Troc Vanquishing spell
Yeah,
because that was so stupid.
get him the frog
Troc.
out of here.
Even Phoebe was like, "Get him the Troc." She was like,
What?
"Out of here." She was like, "Excuse me." She was like, "What?" But you know what?
Not y'all coming for the Stillmans. Wait a minute. Yeah, that's
Okay,
Stillman spell. The
hold
Stillman,
up,
yeah.
because Nasir already knows. Because I was just about to hit it. I was just about to hit it because when Mabel Warren P. Stillman looked at that paper and said it's time to create, and she looked at that paper and she said, my girl looked at that paper and said, I can't do it because the way Mabel ate with that spell, the way
What?
Mabel
She
ate
pulled a Debbie
with
Javensky.
that spell.
Two
Do you
dollars and
understand
13 cent.
me?
What? $2.13 on the side of the dresser that says "Time to
Baby,
go to
that
work." We
spell
gotta.
that spell was worth a million. That spell was worth a million. Blinking faces, blanking ho hum. We are they, and they are no one. Grant to us the power of three, and turn them into nobody. Hit after
Cleared.
hit. Do
Cleared.
you
That's
understand
it.
me?
That's it.
Beyonce who?
Okay.
Beyonce
What did the
who?
source do? The most power. What did the source say?
Nicki
Say the word
Minaj
the three
what?
for me. Okay.
Patty who? Patty
Okay.
LaHale? Patty
Okay.
LaCrelle? Patty LaSalle?
Oh.
Please. Please. Nobody was touching Mabel. Nobody was touching Mabel. And then when she had I can never remember. Now that's the one I can never remember. But that one was a banger too. When she poured the stuff in that whatchamacallit, baby, and she got the, because you already know Mabel is my.
Lord have
Calm down.
mercy.
When
Take
she
this
was
shit.
like something something, I can't remember how she started, but she was like something something. Black is bile. Show me the faces I revile. Ooh, ooh. Say it again in my ear, Mabel. Say it right here. Ooh.
But you know what? Out of all the Stillman sisters, I will say that Mitzi is still always gonna be my favorite. I'm sorry. She said this witch shit is cute, but I done bagged me a rich. You know what? And he fine too. And she went up under that table. Respect.
Well, yeah, I got to give it to her. Listen,
Okay.
she did what she wanted and she went for it. I got to give her that. But as
Okay.
much, listen, I don't mind Mitzi. Mitzi is
Mm-hmm.
not my fave. Princess Margot and then Queen Mabel. Queen Mabel is my
Mercy.
absolute fave. Queen Mabel, she could have took Prue down. Honestly, if we're being
She could have
100%
done
honest about
what?
it, if she could have taken Prue down, she could have been
Down
Shax.
where? Down to Buddy's to get a burger. Bye.
What was she gonna take her to Buddies for? Patty was dead, baby.
Oh, Lord.
Oh,
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 God. Oh.
oh, 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 oh. So we want to throw shade.
Missy said, like,
But we're
I
not.
care how people feel. But
She
that,
no, when
oh my God. She
she was
was
like,
so
you're
upset.
bringing me down, because Jenny McCarthy has a really big mouth. Her mouth is like really huge, and she'd be like, "You're bringing me down," and I'm like, "Girl, are you gonna eat some hay?"
She said, okay, Miss Blackheart. Oh,
just,
God.
just let the little chippy go with her.
Mm, so close.
Margot should have gotten telekinesis. I think Margot did have telekinesis. I think she was just too stupid to use it.
Bye. Goodbye.
Oh, I kind of hated that. I loved, but I hated that spell that Grams wrote. Lavender mimosa, holy thistle, cleanses evil from our midst, scatter its cells throughout time, and make this nick no more exist. It was a little dumb, but I'm here for it.
Most of Graham's spells are questionable if you think about it, so.
I mean, Grams had like almost 30 years to write it, and that's what she came up with. But
Okay.
it's neither here nor there. How did those three demons copy the sisters' powers in season 8? Good. That's when they whipped up drinking them folks' blood.
Which is another question. How can you gain access to the power of three? Is it through
Oh,
blood? Is it
oh,
through
please don't,
like,
because
yep,
my head hurts every time we
yep,
talk about that.
yep.
Mm-mm. Because one, I was always confused on whether the power and I know this is gonna sound stupid, but I was confused sometimes on whether the power of three lied in the powers or in the magic that they had, because like. So, I don't even know where I'm going with that. I don't even know. I don't even know. I
Well,
don't even know.
I wonder if the source had actually gotten all of their powers if he would have had access to the power of three, which makes no sense. But at that
Mm-hmm.
point, it was making it seem like if you had their powers,
Mm-hmm.
well, no, no, well,
I don't know.
Look at Doctor Williamson. Why? How the hell was he able to even be a threat to them? And
But
he had the powers for 6 hours,
it drove him insane eventually though.
right?
So I think it was kind of getting to the point where he was only a threat because he wasn't able to like be coherent when he was using the
Mm.
magic. So that kind of, I don't know.
Mm.
Like his was more of a gradual threat. Like, cause before, he was just doing his own little thing, but then as he became more demented, that's when he started. He went brazen.
Okay, look, the fat Dr. Williamson was stronger than all three of them. Exactly. They were standing there together.
Her.
He should have never been a threat. They should have took that little blade and Prue should have killed him anyway.
Well, the neighbors that got their powers in season 7. I mean, they was already using them powers like they had them for years. The neighbor man was up there ducking and dodging energy balls and stuff, and then old girl was up there freezing and which didn't she like blow back Zanku?
When neighbor boy said freeze them and they went to casino, I said, y'all had that powers for 15 minutes. And that's what I'm talking about right there. So because it's like it irks me that when other people get a hold of their powers, why are they using your powers better than you? The
Mm-hmm.
source, hey, I don't care. The source had he blew up, froze. He said, these powers are impressive. I said, how the hell did he do that?
No,
Piper ain't never
sir.
did that.
No, sir. Do you know what I want to talk about that nobody
What?
ever discusses? And I kind of don't want to talk about it with y'all because I want to be the original one who decides to talk about this. When Matthew got Prue's power and he jumped out of like a 20-story window and then used telekinesis to gently land on the ground, leave me alone. Leave me alone.
In
Leave
front
me
of all
alone.
those, he did that in front of all those people. I might
Mm-hmm.
that's the moment they should have been exposed because if I was Andy, I would have been like, how the hell did he just jump out that window and you don't know him?
That part.
Y'all,
That
y'all
part.
don't know each other.
I'd be like, so he jumped out your window, but you don't know him? Okay, honey. Okay. Okay.
Oh, you right. Okay, somebody said Piper did do that at the museum when they broke in. You right. You right.
No.
I'm glad after 7 years she was able to do that though. The source was able to do it in 10 minutes. You right, so
No, there's a difference, and people love to use that example. The
uh
source did it with one hand at the
right.
same exact time. Piper
Right.
did it in a succession. So, yes, she did do it, but she did it in a
Technically she
succession. She hit
didn't.
1, 2. He,
Okay.
he said, and it was like that powers are strong. Yeah, so I'm not trying to
Now why
read
you make the source sound like that you know he
them
because what?
because
The source was a leader of the underworld. He ain't had no time for no type of activities.
uh huh.
You know
We
what?
started.
Really, I clocked the source whenever Cole ran in and he hit him with that fireball, and he said Balthazar.
Blah, blah, blah. Because he
I
said it so weird.
said,
He was like,
I
blah, blah,
said,
blah.
why'd you say his name like that? I don't like that. That made me uncomfortable. I said, y'all need
Because
to
he,
get him up out of here. So I don't
cause he
know.
recognized him. If you know what I mean, he recognized him.
Oh, they work out at the same park.
Okay, per. Because I knew he was one of the girls when he was like, oh my God, I always get the words mixed up. But the way when he said, when he was like, I know of your witch, Balthazar. I know that's why you've come here. He said, I know about your little girlfriend, honey. Okay, and I know you used to come in here to save her. Not on my watch. Not on my watch.
When he was trying to be petty, he comes up, say hello to Prue for me. I said, I said, you thought
If
you ate with that, huh? He
they
thought
didn't
he
let
ate.
you know he was one of the girls that he was willing to go there, I don't know what to tell you.
He
I don't know what
thought
to
he
tell you.
ate.
He thought he tore
He
that,
did that little thing like that. I'm like.
and then when he tried to read Phoebe real quick and was like, "Your power was always the weakest, ma'am." Excuse me? Now you're just being mean. Because that was given very much when Piper told that woman, Grams always said you the amount of nothing. It's giving very that.
Mm. I don't believe that was a spell though. I think that was just Piper talking.
I think so too. I think Piper just said. I think Piper had wanted to say that for a long time. I feel like Grams really did say it. I feel like Grams really did say like, Phoebe ain't gonna be nothing in life, so you got to be there for her. And so Piper just let it out, and then she went back and was like, "Let me tell this girl that I'm sorry."
You remember when Paige used to get pissed off when they trying to tell her what to do? She would eat their ass up. Like
Mm-hmm.
when she was going after Zion, she said, "I'm not finna argue with you hoes, cause y'all not even my real sisters anyway." And this nigga, look, this man that I just met 20 minutes ago understand me better than y'all ever will.
Okay. Oh,
And they got
okay.
quiet. Piper said, "Ooh,
No, 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 no. Do you know what when I watch power outage one day. I'm going back to this because I thought about it for a second. You know what was always funny to me that I didn't actually think of until later on was the fact that when they were trying to mend the rift between them and whatnot, and they were apologizing and whatnot. Phoebe never actually apologized. Like Prue apologized, Piper apologized, and Phoebe just kind of Phoebe just kind of did like Karen Huger and was like, "I received that," and then after everything was done, and Prue was like, "Who needs Oprah? We can do it ourselves." And then Phoebe looks up and is like, "Do you think we have our powers back?" I was like, "Okay." Phoebe is not invested in mending their sister relationship at all. She genuinely just wants her powers back. She said, "Baby, listen, I'm trying to go back to being a witch. Okay, I ain't got time for this."
Well, you remember when Andy wasn't even cold in the ground yet, and she was yelling at Prue to get her shit together? I'll never forget that. She said, "I don't know what your problem is, man, but he dead and gone, and I ain't trying to join him. So I don't know what you got going on, but you need to work that out." And then
Baby,
Piper was like, "Phoebe," I'm like, and she was going in on Prue. I was like, and Phoebe, and Prue was like, "My God, don't you get it?" She said, "I do, but you still need to get over it."
yes. Okay. Well, Phoebe is the same. Phoebe is the same person that looked Piper dead in the face when Piper was like, "We need to bring her back," and was like, "We've tried every magical way to bring her." No, she was. What did she say? She was like, "Leo can't heal the dead, Piper. You know that." And she looked at her like, "Girl, if you say that girl's name one more time, I swear to God." I was like, "Not Phoebe don't care that Prue's dead and wants Piper to stop talking about it."
The way Alyssa had to almost give herself an aneurysm in that bedroom scene will always send me. She squeezed that one tear out, and that was it. She
Baby, let me tell
cried
you
harder
something.
over that toaster in season 7 than she did her own sister.
I have had people fight me down that Phoebe broke down over Prue. I have had people literally fight me over the fact that Phoebe broke down over Prue. I'm not going to classify that as a breakdown. And there's one particular reason I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. There is one specific reason that I will never classify that as a breakdown. When she was in the middle of crying, and she said, and she was like, uh, uh, and then Piper was like, "I was wondering when you were gonna bring, when you gonna let go," of whatever she said. And she was like, "I was trying to be strong for you." And then Piper hands her a tissue, and Phoebe's like, "I was trying to be strong for." Thank you. I was trying to be strong for
Okay.
you. When she stopped and said thank you, I said, "No, ma'am.
Hmm.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
She dabbed a
No, ma'am."
tear. She said, "I just didn't think it would take the check that long to clear. I just, I got my eye on this little card I want to get."
Baby, baby, when baby girl said that shmoney is gonna come in real quick, that check, and I feel like Phoebe would have made sure that Prue put it in her name, and she'd be like, "I'm gonna share it with Piper."
Now you're saying she's scamming. So I feel like, I don't think Phoebe, I think the only
Oh
sister that was
no.
really out here scamming and trapping was Paige.
It's called acting. She was happy Shannon was gone, but baby, she
Oh,
wasn't acting. But she
oh.
wasn't acting though. That's the thing. It's like, first off, people swear to God that Holly was eating down in them scenes, but that's a whole other conversation. Alyssa didn't even try. She was not acting in any shape, form, or fashion. The only time that she had a little light in her eyes when it came to Prue was the scene directly after they would talk about stuff. She was be a gone. Then she'd be like, "Yeah, let's go." But you know what? Okay, this leads me to another thing I really want to talk about. I hate. Okay, so there's two things that are kind of like my pet peeves right now. Number one, when people bring up when you talk about Prue leaving or something like that, and you talk about the circumstances of her leaving and how stupid the episode was, people will be like, "Yeah, but the big issue is that Alyssa and Shannon had a beef behind the scenes," and it's like, we understand that the actresses did not get along in real life. We understand what the situation was in real life. That can't be the argument for why the episode didn't make sense every single time. Like you can't just go to that because we understand that you watched the episode, baby. We understand that you watched the
Well,
episode.
I mean, honestly, did we? Because who was that told me that Prue jumped into a portal to save the world or something? And
Oh
I
my god.
said, and I said, she did what now?
Yeah. 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 I have never in my life. I have never in my life. When I tell you, when you told me that, when we saw that, I was like, mm-mm, can't be. And
Well, it's just like somebody stood me down that there was a month behind Dracula in season 5 of Buffy, and I pulled that scene up, and I was like, "Where the hell are y'all seeing him? That's a statue." I'm like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "Y'all just be up here lying." Like, I thought I was
line,
up here making up stuff, but
line, line, and it's like I think okay, so I think I've told you this before, but I think part of the thing for me that I'm starting to understand now more about myself is I think because I talk about Charmed sort of like on this like bigger like these bigger kind of like I don't want to use the word platform, but in a bigger space, I feel
platform,
like space. I feel
platform.
like that is why I tend to hear so many of the same responses over and over and over and over because it's a lot of people who have never really had the chance to talk about it. And so now that they do have a chance to talk about it, you know, they're wanting to talk about this specific thing. And so I think it's a perspective thing. Like for me, I'm constantly hearing the same responses over and over and over and over. But for a lot of people who are making those same, remarks, that might be the first time they've ever had someone to talk to about that. So I'm trying to be more like I'm trying not to be as uptight, I guess, about that because sometimes it gets on my nerves, and sometimes, and I don't want to be that. Like, I don't want people to not feel like they can comment or talk or say or whatever because I'm being a jerk because
Props for those actresses for doing their own stunts for years. Sir, I'm
who
not even trying to be mean. I ain't trying to be messy, but there's one scene I want you to go back and watch. Go back and watch the scene the day the magic died, the scene where they were in that diner, and watch Paige when she ran from behind that table with that baseball bat, and you let me know if that's Paige, and that's all I'm gonna say. Because now remind you now, Rose, you know Rose's build. Go watch that scene and let me know what you think.
the likelihood that they did any of their own stunts is very, very small. Like, I really can't think of any times that they might have done their own stunts. Because even when Piper did that flip and kicked that black demon in the house, um,
Was that the
that
species
clearly,
of the demon, black demon, or was there something significant, the reason why you brought that up, or
huh,
huh?
huh.
Huh? Okay, I'm gonna go check the book later on for. 'Cause I just want to read. Is that the name of the black demon or
It was the harpy demon,
the
and you
harpy
know
demon?
that.
Oh,
You
okay.
know it was
Oh,
the
I didn't
harpy
know.
demon.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Anyway, 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 we're gonna move on. Um, because I want to address something that I don't know how to say your name, baby. I'm gonna just say Avi season. I don't know. They say, wait, talk about Holly. When you said that, when you said she thought she was eating her scenes up, I need to hear. I know it's gonna be a lot of people that disagree with me on this, and maybe I'm just doing it to be contrary. I don't know, but when people like talk about that scene of Piper in the mausoleum when she was grieving Prue when Leo took her and Paige there.
8. No crumbs left. 8.
She ate the first half of the performance. I
8.
will give you that. She ate the first
Viola
half.
Viola Davis came in, okay, and did what needed to be done. Okay, Meryl Streep came in, okay, did what needed to be done. She channeled all of them, okay.
And so anyway, the first half of that scene, like when she ran to the gate, when she ran to the door and was trying to open the door up, she ate that part up. When she was like, "How dare you?" She ate that up. And then when she was like banging on the thing, she ate that part up. But then after she turned into a human again, turned back into regular Piper and hit that floor, we could have ended the scene. We could have ended it right then and there, and I would have been perfectly fine. Because when she was like, "No, no, she risking her life every day," it's like you can tell. This is me. This is me talking. I feel like you can kind of tell that she lost some of her momentum in that scene, like Holly as an actress, not like she you can just tell that there was a disconnect because like she ate that first part up when she was dressed as a harpy, and then when she hit the floor it was like all of that was gone. It was like, I don't know if maybe that was a purposeful thing, maybe that was supposed to be like her being tired at that point and she just didn't have nothing left in her. But like at that second point, Holly could have went. Holly could have left it. That whole scene, I think, really was not even her best acting scene. If I'm being 100% honest, for me, her best acting scene was when she was in that hospital and all hell breaks loose, and she was on that table and she was like, "I can't feel my legs." That was a performance. Like if Holly never won an Emmy for that show, that scene would have been the scene I gave her an Emmy for. Because when she was laying on that table and she was like, "I love you, I can't feel my legs, I'm cold," and all of that. And I feel like Shannon was really crying because I was really crying. Baby, she tore that scene to shreds. Do you understand me?
I think the scene that Holly always eats every time for me was in Oh My Goddess Part Two when she goes back up to the heavens and she looked at Liv. She said, "You're welcome."
Mm-hmm.
Boy, oh my gosh, she did so good
Mm-hmm.
there. But
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna say this for the sake of saying it because I just feel like people need to hear me say it. They don't really need to hear me say it, but the one phrase that I literally get sick of hearing, like it makes me physically ill, is when I say something about Piper as a character, and people say, "Not too much on Piper, not too much on Holly. Piper is mother. Piper is queen." Shut up. Be quiet. Be quiet. Don't tell me not too much on Piper. Piper is a character on a television show. She's not above reproach.
and to be fair, if we just gonna put it all out there, Piper wasn't eating as much as y'all said she was. I mean, the little bit of shine she did get was because Prue died, and even after that, the other two ate.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when she
Mm-hmm.
was crying about how can I let him destroy my little sister, I'm like, maybe it's because you're a loser. And I mean, when
Okay,
she was at that bar and she was like, "And I'm the oldest, and I let him destroy her," and I was like, "Yeah, because you can't even do one thing right, and you're a loser." And Paige saw it from day one. This is what irritates me. And Paige never gets an apology, okay, ever, because Paige was like, "So he was a demon for a century, right?" And y'all just think that he just walked away from that. And they tried to talk to my good sis like she was stupid. And Piper was like, "Well, he's a member of this family now." Whoop whoop whoop.
baby. No, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Because I knew Paige was gonna be hell on wheels when she looked Piper dead in the face and was like, "Well," she said, "Well, Phoebe's shacking up with the demon, and you're married to our white lighter. So maybe my friend can stay cute." Read, Miss Matthews. My girl hadn't even been a witch for a month and was already coming in reading. I don't even think she had been a
She
witch for
said,
like 3 weeks.
"Wait, Paige was annoying. She manifested Cole's turn with her bad energy. There's not there's not that much power manifestation in the world where Paige could have made that man turn evil. I don't agree with that. I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Mm-hmm.
I
You're
think
absolutely
that's
right.
a reach.
I'm gonna say this. I am going to say this to you. And this is going to be me This is me. I'm not gonna say that because I don't want to offend anybody. Never mind. I'm not gonna say it
I mean, Cole was just, yeah, thank you. Cole did that on his own.
on his
Paige, I
own.
think what you're confused with is the fact that Paige was just able to peep game early on. So, and she just got
Hmm.
tired of defending herself. And the thing that people, that really irks me, especially the Piper stands, is that how are you okay just completely dismissing your sister for a demon? I mean,
Hmm.
6 months before Paige even got there, Cole was trying to kill you.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
but you telling me everything that Paige said was invalidated because he helped y'all save three innocents?
Hmm. Hmm. And I think that the hate that Paige gets is kind of a lot like the love that certain other sisters get, where it's almost illogical at certain point. At a certain point, excuse me. Like instead of just saying I don't like Paige, it's I don't like Paige. And I'm not saying that this is what you said, darling. I'm using you as an example, but I'm not using you. So instead of just saying I don't like Paige, well, Paige is the one that made Cole turn bad. Or, Paige is the reason that her sisters couldn't live their lives because she wanted to fight demons. They're the charmed ones. Like, I remember somebody actually said that. Like, I remember someone actually saying out loud that Paige stopped them from living their lives because she wanted to fight demons. They're witches. That's what they do. Like,
Paige was trying to go backpack, and they told her that she couldn't go. So what are y'all
yes,
talking about?
yes, yes. When Paige wanted to leave, they were like, "No, ma'am. Paige was living on her own," and they said, "You need to move in this house so that way we can have we can have access to the power of three and do what we need to do." Like, I don't know. It just that's why and I'm gonna just go ahead and have this little dialogue real quick. But that's why sometimes kind of like talking about the sisters individually turns into a chore because I feel like some people don't want to have like an actual talk about a character. They want to tell you why the character they like is the best and why the character they hate is the worst. And it turns into not being objective about a character because I love Piper because she has great one-liners and she reminds me of me. Okay, what do you like about Piper? And it's the same when people say like, I hate Paige so much. They should have kept Prue. Why? Why do you hate Paige? What what about Paige as a character, other than the fact that she came in to replace Prue, makes you hate her? Like give me a reason and then we can go from there. But it gets very difficult to have conversations about charm sometimes because people just have that very one-dimensional view of the show and the characters. It's kind of like when you start talking about power levels and people go for their whichever sister, is they think is the strongest and they just leave it at that. And it's like, okay, you're telling me that they could do this and so they're the most powerful. What constitutes their power other than you could see them blow stuff up or fling people? Like, give. And I'm not saying you have to explain every single thing because we all have illogical or not illogical. We all have like you're allowed to have like a shallow reason for something. Like not everything has to have some deep psychological meaning, but there are just times where if we're really going to talk about the show, you can't just dismiss me as a person because you don't like the argument I'm making because you like this character. Like, if you tell me right now, because I'm a Paige stan, but if you tell me right now Phoebe is your favorite character, and I say I don't like Phoebe, that's not going to change the fact that you like Phoebe. That just means that I have a different view of her. But instead of us talking about it and me saying, "Well, this is why I don't like Phoebe," you don't want to hear it because Phoebe is your favorite. I, you know, so
Well, it's like that, and then when you try to actually defend whether or not whoever's your favorite sister, and then people try to discount it like BS reasons, like take for example Paige, they'd be like, "Oh, well, Paige got there. That's just she can't really do anything." And I'm
mhm.
like, y'all, did you watch past season 4? Because if you think about it, her powers grew or advanced quicker which was
Mhm.
arguably her white rider side. I will give you that. But the fact that in the realm of magic, she progressed a lot faster than her sisters. I mean, you
Mhm.
can't discount that. You can't take that away. And quiet as is kept, the show didn't become super magical until Paige got there. I got tired of
Yeah.
seeing them hoes driving through I-97 or wherever the hell they were at. What tires squealing and just like I'm so tired of seeing them pull up in that damn Jeep or that BMW. Like
Mhm.
I know when they
Mhm.
tried to sell that damn BMW and they went to go test drive it, it wouldn't stop because them damn brakes will burn up,
Mhm.
baby.
Mhm.
Mm-mm.
No, you absolutely right. And then, just the fact that Paige was actually cultivating relationships with the magical community, because that was not happening before she got there. They helped little magical creatures here and there, but as a whole, Paige was the one that was creating these relationships with the magical community. It was when she got here that we started exploring leprechauns and elves and giants and nymphs and all this and that. That was Paige.
Exactly. They said Paige progressed faster because she was taught by the sisters and Leo, though. That's the only reason why. I don't. Okay, so hear me out. We're using the word taught loosely. I don't really think that they taught her how to use her powers, which
Mm-mm.
would give them unfair credit as to why she was able to advance so quickly. Now, they did make her knowledgeable about the history of magic and how to like brew potions and stuff, but even then, it's like they weren't doing that for her benefit. They were, but they
Mm-hmm.
weren't. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Piper, they said to herself, we need you to progress faster because we're at war with the source, which was
Yeah,
a lot of pressure. So, I mean, I don't care what nobody says. Paige came in doing some damn heavy lifting season 4. She did. I mean,
she did.
to be less than a year as a witch and go up against the source of all evil? Uh-uh.
No, 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 no. Let's just okay. There's two things I want to bring up. Number one is the fact that she was practicing her orb power on her own.
That's
Leo,
right.
the only person in the house who could orb, was not even teaching her how to do it. She was doing it of her own accord. Number two, and I harp on this all the time because it's just a fact. Like, this is actually a fact. This is not me trying to be whatever. In the first year that Paige came in, she vanquished Shax. This was in her first day or two as a
I'm
witch.
about to say
She
first
vanquished
48
Shax,
hours.
who her first 48 hours, she
Okay.
vanquished Shax, who had already killed the Charmed One. She beat the source and chose to turn good after he put her under one of his little spells and whatnot. She actually vanquished the source, not once, not twice, but thrice.
Okay.
Thrice. My girl came in and was cutting up.
Putting the
Like,
family back together because what Piper said, this family was tore apart till Paige got here
mm-hmm,
because her ass wasn't doing it.
mm-hmm,
Shit.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that's my biggest thing is like, you cannot like Paige. I'm not telling anybody that they have to like Paige, but to discredit and discount her is ridiculous to me.
Like
It's
y'all
ridiculous
saying
to
the
me.
sisters helped her to orb. Okay, so
When? How?
they they told her Cole was in danger, whatever. Okay, well we need to orb to the house. And Paige said, I've never done that before. They said try. Baby, that's not helping. They literally threw my girl to the wind and was like, well, you just need to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
That's not helping. That's not guiding.
But I mean, but my thing about that is like, at its core, and I'm not trying to be petty when I say this, they could not have helped her learn how to orb. They could tell her like how to control certain parts of the magic and be like, okay, focus and breathe. But as far as like how to orb, they don't know that. Leah was the only person in the house that could have told her this is what you need to do to be able to orb across town. They might say, okay, breathe and focus on orbing, focus on whatever. But there's only so far they're gonna be able to go with that. Leo was the person that needed to teach her how to get from point A to point B. And Leo wasn't doing nothing.
Okay.
So,
Piper did tell her, Piper said, just breathe, focus, feel the power of building. But I feel like that's so generic, though. 'Cause I feel like, I mean, I would tell that to my dog if I wanted him to go outside to use the bathroom. Like, feel the
mm-hmm,
power of building so you can go pee so we can go back in the house. Like, I don't know.
mm-hmm,
I just like, because I feel like anytime we say that, like, the sisters help Paige to manifest or like, to develop her power, I just feel like it's just, it could be true, but I feel like it's just discounting everything that Paige did. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know why I feel like that. I just because at the end of the day, Piper and Phoebe didn't care about her power advancement. They just
Mm-hmm.
wanted her to be ready whenever the source attacked.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's why, like, if you, like I said, I mean, we all have our reasons for why we like or dislike certain parts of a character. But I just feel like people get so wrapped up sometimes, and it's like people try to tell me and now. Let me go back. Let me double back. Let me double back because I'm gonna try to have a moment of self reflection. I have been told before that I hate on Piper. I am sure that I have said things that come off as me hating the character or hate being a hater towards her or whatever. But I think the reason that I'm so critical of her is I feel like we see, even in the comments, ease up on my girl Piper, y'all. She tried. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Is like the reason I'm so critical of the character sometimes is because people made her this like and when I say people I mean the fans trying to make her this like can do no wrong character. None of them were at that level. Not one. There was not one character who could do no wrong. And so I think sometimes because I'm a person who gets very passionate about things that I really love, and I like to try to like be objective about it. I like to try to keep an open mind about it, but it gets so frustrating to watch this show and have people argue me down about Phoebe and about Piper in particular. Those two characters in particular, I have gone to hell and back over because people will take any sort of like criticism or anything and be like, why are you talking about her like that? She's this, she's that. Phoebe is the best. Piper's the best. She's da da da. And it's like, no one is arguing that these aren't good characters. What I am saying is that the character has a flaw because they do this. It's just like with Paige. I am a Paige stan from here to New Mexico to Timbuktu where Phoebe dropped that man off. But I will fully admit that after season 4, they didn't know what to do with Paige. And Paige was just here. Paige was just there. And they were throwing storylines at her, hoping that it would help. And I mean, of course, like I said, I love Paige. So, of course, I see her storyline a certain way. But that doesn't mean that that's just how it is. Love my girl down. No reason she should have stopped being a social worker. There was no reason that she should have ever been anywhere near all them temp jobs and all this and that. There's no reason that she should have just been up here doing whatever she wanted to do every other minute, trying to sell her soul. Because that was the stupidest thing Paige did, was try to sell her soul. That was the dumbest thing she has
I ain't gonna
ever
lie
done.
to you now. A lot of times I'll be looking at Piper like, girl, you just don't care about your job. But that was one time that I was like, look, yeah, that's just a little bit too much. I'm sorry. So I'm not fit to sell myself. If that man is already dead and I signed that
Mm-hmm.
paperwork and he's on his way to hell, baby, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna catch the next sentence because ain't no way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ain't no
Mm-hmm.
way.
Mm-hmm. Like that was the stupidest thing. When I tell you that was the stupidest thing in the world, and they really did give Paige so many B plot like ideas. Like her storyline, her whole story after season 4 was a B plot. Like she was the B plot, and that's my big problem. And see, it's like the behind the scenes stuff dictated the Page character arc. We know that. I'm not talking about that. That's literally not what I'm talking about. Like that's what I was saying earlier. Stop telling me what happened behind the scenes. We know what happened behind the scenes. This is not like what's not clicking. We understand what happened behind the scenes. Damn, we all watched the show. We all read about it. Stop telling me that. Like that doesn't negate anything I'm saying. I don't know. And I'm sorry, y'all. I am not trying to be angry. I get very passionate about this because I love this show. Um And I did want to apologize to Nara underscore 553. I promise you, this is not directed at you. This is not directed at anybody in particular. It's kind of an overall issue. It's just, it gets, God, it just gets very frustrating as a person who talks about Charmed regularly to see the same comments kind of like be thrown in a dismissive fashion, because it's like, I can say A, and somebody is going to tell me what happened behind the scenes as if that completely negates it. And that makes it like null and void. What I'm saying is null and void because this happened behind the scenes. That doesn't mean that we can't talk about the story as a story, because that's what the story is a story. At the end of the day, it's a story that was told. And so there are certain things that we can all agree that, from a writing perspective or whatever, made sense or didn't make sense, but we can still talk about it within the realm of the show, like Phoebe and her powers. From a right, we all understand that they said that the budget got bad and they had to take Phoebe's powers, even though it made absolutely no sense. But they could not, from a storytelling perspective, take Piper or Paige's. Paige was the transportation, Piper was the firepower. So they could not take either one of their powers. So from that perspective, we all know that. But let's talk about it from the show perspective. Let's just leave it at that. Like, let's stop trying to bring logic into every single thing.
Because at the end of the day, we're talking about three white women with magical powers. So, and there's no logical way to ever approach that. So, you know, you can say, okay, well, behind the scenes, but behind the scenes doesn't make up for the fact that the Charmed one is working at a temp agency. It doesn't make sense. And it's like it's almost like they try to make Paige so different from Prue that they completely negated the original character of what she was at the beginning of season 4. And there's no reason
Mm-hmm.
why she couldn't have been a social worker, like you said, have a
Mm-hmm.
daytime job, and she still could have helped people, and she could have been on her path separate away. She didn't have to go be a dog walker and like
Mm-hmm.
find out evil witches were. She could have done that at the temp agency or at the social worker place. So,
Mm-hmm.
oh, and I just want
And
to say, side note, I love all these Buffy quotes or these Buffy comments. I know that's right. Y'all better recognize Mother.
you said Tuffy?
I said Buffy, exactly.
You said Luffy?
No, Buffy. We're not talking about that pirate show, that pirate anime.
Because I don't know who else he could be talking about.
I'm talking about Buffy, the iconic Buffy Ann Summers, the Vampire Slayer. Buffy Joyce Ann Summers, okay?
You gonna send Buffy to hell with
Buffy
Joyce?
is
Well,
Queen Mother. I know that's right. Angela who? I know
well,
that's right. They were talking about Queen Mother. I said, I don't know her. I don't know her. I don't know her.
But no, so let me tell you
Oh,
this.
oh, not LaQuisha Ann. I don't like that, but okay.
No, I don't like that one. But no, we stand Buffy in. I love me some Faith. Faith is my girl, but we stand Buffy in over this way.
Buffy Honor, Joyce went to hell because of those ringlets. You didn't know that?
Those ringlets, and because she was on that couch. I don't know what it was about that couch,
When
but that couch sent her.
when Joyce died and they took her off that couch and laid her on that floor, and there was like an indention of the ringlets in the couch, I said, yeah, she's in hell. Right? And you know what? Cause Buffy my fave because she didn't cuss her friends out in season 7 like I would have. So and that's
Okay,
awesome.
but you know what? Somebody did say something earlier, and I wanted to go back to that because somebody said, and I can't find the person who said it. It was a comment, and I wanted to read it, but they were basically saying that they kind of wrote. Oh yeah. Here it is. The fans try to make Piper like Buffy, but it was another one that was basically like the show wrote Buffy and Piper kind of the same way, where they were like untouchable or above reproach, whatever you want to say. And I agree with that to a certain extent because I feel like I love Buffy on a down, but there are people who will argue you down that Buffy is perfect, and Buffy is far from perfect.
Right, and look, right here, that's me. So, cause when them hoes, when they start barking, I get the barking right back. So, okay,
But
like your friend on Twitter that day that tried me and that said, "Oh well, I'm gonna come with my book of receipts," and I retweeted that with a blank book opening. I said the book in
baby.
question. That's it. Don't play
But you
with
know
me.
what? But the thing about that is though, is I think that's what makes a good character is their imperfections.
No,
Like,
Buffy's flawed. That's why I love her so.
yeah, exactly. Like when you can point out something about a character, but then somebody else made a good point is that fans of those care of like Phoebe and Piper completely overlook those flaws and
Hmm.
those shortcomings because they have a certain vision of them in their head. Because here's the thing is that we all have a favorite character, whether it be from a movie or a TV show or whatever. That's our favorite character because of the time of our life that we saw them. You know,
Okay.
when you were 8 years old, you watched, I don't know, Matilda, and you identified with her because you felt like now you could do anything, whatever else. And that makes sense that you have this vision of them in your head where they're absolutely perfect. But at a certain point in life, you have to be able to look at it and say, this character has this flaw. I still love them, but this character has this flaw. And, again, I'm going to go back with Paige. Paige would do a lot of impulsive, stupid stuff most of the time. Paige would make bad decisions. But I still love Paige because I identify with that part of her that was trying to fit in a place where she felt like she didn't fit in, where she was.
Because they never welcomed her.
They
Like,
never welcomed
case
her.
some point,
Mm-hmm.
they were trying to find a baby name, and nobody thought to update the family tree.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody said, "Oh, well, so insignificant, so insignificant." Imagine being an outsider, and then find
Mm-hmm.
out you're part of this larger legacy, magical
Mm-hmm.
or not. And then for your own sister to be like, "Okay, well, the baby isn't even up here," and parents is like, "Well, the baby doesn't have a name."
Mm-hmm.
Like, and
Mm-hmm.
nobody see. There's stuff like that that really pisses me off. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but
And
Buffy
then
did hold so much stuff in. You're absolutely correct. So,
okay, and here's the okay. So on the opposite end, here's why I love Buffy so much. Buffy is in a league that is completely different from the Charmed ones, and I'm gonna tell you why. Just besides the writing, out from not from a writing perspective, everything that the Charmed ones are going through, they're going through as adults. Buffy was what 15, 16 when the show started.
16 when she faced the Master, the second powerful vampire she faced in like a year and a half time period. My girl
Mm-hmm.
went to war with the first evil at
Mm-hmm.
22.
Mm-hmm.
Her mama hadn't been dead for about a year and a half.
Yeah.
That was it. My girl
Yep.
came. My girl was in heaven and came back and went to go work at McDonald's at
Yep.
the Double Meat Palace.
Yep.
And that's
Yep.
why I always argue when people try to compare. I say you really can't because like you said, they were adults. Phoebe was what 23, 24 when they got their powers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Buffy was called at 15, and all that shit was on her.
Yep,
That's it.
because you know what somebody just said. Also, Buffy was alone, and
That's
you are
it.
absolutely right. Buffy shouldered that. Her destiny was for her to walk that alone, and then it's kind of like okay, with the Charmed ones, of course they're facing the threat of death every day, right? But they did eventually get to a point where they were given the option of a reprieve. They just chose not to take it when they were told that they could their powers would be taken away and whatnot, and they could live normal lives, but Buffy was never going to get that choice. Okay. Oh my God. Okay, this just gave me chills to think about because I don't even know if Buffy looked at it like this. When Buffy went through the Cruciamentum, and you remember like all those feelings she was kind of going through with like, okay, I'm finna be normal. How do I live this life? Like when she told him like, I can't, go knowing what's on the other
I can't
side
be.
of it.
I done seen too much. She said, "I know
I've
what's
seen
out
too
there." She
much.
said, "I can't be normal."
Imagine, just think for a moment that you are a teenage girl who for the past 2 to 3 years of your life you have been or four however many you have been fighting evil by moonlight living love by daylight, And
Motherfucker know.
you go through all of that, and for a brief moment, for a brief little moment, even if you don't want it, you think maybe I'm gonna be normal like everybody else and get to live a long life. And then, just as that one little piece of hope starts to take hold, and you go to sleep one night and you just think to yourself, I'm gonna wake up in the morning and go to school. And then I'm gonna come home. And then I'm gonna eat dinner. And then I'm gonna go to sleep. And then I'm gonna do it again. For that one moment, you think that's gonna be your new normal. And then they snatch it away. Imagine. I could like even just thinking about that made me want to cry. I couldn't I couldn't.
For me, I don't think that I would want even the option because I don't know why it feels different for like Charm and them. Like, well, because Angel Destiny did say that like you will not be in danger, you be able to live your lives unencumbered by the forces of evil, like you've done your duty. But with Buffy, that was just it. They didn't say, oh well, that doesn't mean that you're not going to be in dangerous situations. That
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that like you can go and get some food at midnight and somebody's going to
Mm-hmm.
attack you.
And you ain't
Like
gonna get eaten.
exactly, you
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
if I knew the truth of what was out there, nah, I got to keep my powers. I'm sorry. I'd
Mm-hmm.
rather be the one in charge. I got to fight this shit. I got to go clean this shit up. I can't be
Mm-hmm.
get caught lacking, get caught slipping.
Mm-hmm. Cause it's like with the charmed ones. I mean, they had proof in front of them with Grams. Of course they had two different, sort of whatever. They had Patty on one side showing them that they could very easily die young, but then they had Grams where they see you can fight demons your entire life and then still grow old. Even though Grams was only like 37, trying to pretend like she was somebody's grandma. But
Girl,
anyway,
stop, stop.
I mean, I'm just saying because Grams was
That's
very
it.
much only 37 when that show started, and no one can convince me otherwise. She was just a hard 37.
Graham was
But
49 years old with a 29-year-old daughter and
and 30-year-old
child.
grandchildren, okay,
Okay.
okay.
Ooh,
And then,
child.
but they have that in front of them, and it's like you still, as scared as you are, you still have that kind of like hope that maybe you will grow old, maybe you can have some semblance of a normal life. But with Buffy, she knows her days are numbered. Like, there is no I'm gonna be 70 years old fighting demons. Like, that's not going to happen.
Mm-mm.
She's gonna get up out of here one way or another.
The fact that my
And
girl went to college was a blessing, so I would have took full advantage of that. So
hmm I
mm,
would have been hoeing. When I tell you I would have been
I hope.
hoeing from one side of
Come on, Nikki
Sunnydale to
Wood.
another.
Come on, Nikki Wood, not knowing who Robin Daddy was.
Baby, let me tell you something, and I would have been just like Nikki. I wouldn't have known who nobody's nothing was. My sheets would have had all kinds of stuff on them every day, and I wouldn't know who it came from, and I'd be perfectly fine with that.
Oh
When I
Lord.
tell you I would be an SLUT, honey,
Mm.
okay? But that's me.
I couldn't imagine just like having the fate of the world on your shoulders, and then just like my thing is that her being in heaven, and her being done, and her being complete, and then that level of depression she felt when they
Hmm.
brought her back, and she still took back up her call again. That's why I argue so hard for Buffy. That's
Hmm.
why I go so hard because like, oh, ignorant, you know what, like me. Mm-mm. Get somebody
Hmm.
else to do it. Mm-mm. I say, y'all Faith. Go get Faith to do it. Absolutely
Hmm.
not.
Hmm.
The
I,
daddy issues of both of these franchises. Now, to be fair, I think the writers and Buffy kind of took advantage of that because at first Hank wasn't an absent father. Now
hmm.
that whole I don't know what was going on with um damn what's her name baby daddy, but
Victor.
yeah Victor, because he came back and then he left and then he came back and
Well, so this was always my thing with that. Was at first they kind of like hinted. They never necessarily said. They just kind of hinted that it was Grams because when they first kind of like had it, it was like from his perspective that Grams was the one that kept him awake. But and of course we're only gonna hear his side of the story because Grams is gone. But then, like you said, after that he don't come back until what, like season 3? I think the fact that he came back in season 3 and that was the first time. I think. Yeah, the ice cream episode. And then the ice cream episode, he was there and uh he was there for Piper's wedding. He was there for the good, the bad, and the cursed. I'm sure there's another one I'm missing. But the fact that like he didn't even come back after that was like that was a choice. Like you can give me Grams at first, but after that that's a choice. Now, not Collins the Vampire Slayer and then disappeared, child. I can't hear you. You're muted. Ghetto. 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 But anyways, y'all. But yeah, but Hank did. He disappeared and said, "Baby, I ain't coming back up in here."
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Child, somebody had called me that messed up my stuff. So, but
Who called you?
huh,
Who called you?
huh,
What did you find? Who called them?
Vontae,
Either you need to, who's that?
huh. Oh, you know him. He's an actor.
Oh my god. Anyway, and so and so anyway,
Oh, you don't want to
and
know anymore?
I don't want to know anymore. I
Okay.
don't.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you might have seen him in a few movies, you know. So, you know.
I don't understand why the Halliwells didn't marry magical men. Two of them literally did. One just didn't stay magical, but two of them literally married magical men.
Now you know Faith was locked up when Buffy died. Well, that don't make me know. Never mind. I done came back and y'all up here trying to give me all these rules to ultimatum. So, because
Baby, the
let's talk
way
about it. When they kicked Buffy out of the house that she was still paying for in season 7, with her, never mind, I almost gonna say her fake sister, but anyway, when they
how
kicked
was
her
Buffy
out,
paying for anything?
Buffy was slinging meat at the Double Meat Palace.
Her
Was Willow paying? What was Willow doing?
getting that cooch,
Okay, I'm about to say, I don't think that she was up there cutting coupons. She was doing some
getting
type
that
of
cooch
cut. But
juice
anyway,
on Joyce's Egyptian cotton sheets.
and that's why she gonna bust hell wide open with Kennedy too. Oh, I need to make a live about that. The worst Slayer. I remember somebody stood me down one day on Twitter. Was like Kennedy was the ideal choice to be the next Slayer. I'm like, is there literally nobody else? I mean,
Wasn't Kennedy like 35?
Kennedy is 47, and she got
Kennedy was
tilapia on the
Grams.
breath.
She was
Like,
going to originally play
listen,
Grams at the beginning of the
listen.
show.
When she showed up with that leather jacket on, talking about she here to say, well, I said, this is the gay agenda they've been warning us about, and I'm sick of it. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
hmm
Baby. I said, we doing a lot right now, ain't we?
She said, I'm here to save you. I said, girl, shut up. She irked my nerves. I can't, just everything about it just irked my
Excuse me.
spirit. Ugh, Jesus.
Baby. But let me tell you something. When, oh my God, I promise you, one of my absolute favorite moments, we've talked before about the fact that Conversations with Dead People is like
Ugh,
both of our favorite episodes. But I
God.
promise you, my favorite part of that episode is just the way that the first worked Willow. Oh my God. Like, that is why I say, like, if I was a villain and I couldn't touch people, I can only talk. I'm going to do what the first did and I'm going to wear her out. You
Mm-mm.
can't see her because you
When
killed people, baby.
bro said it only hurt for a minute. What? And then that music stopped, and Willow stood up and said, who are you? And she said, oh, did I push too hard? I said,
Yes, yes.
uh-uh.
I'm telling you, the way that it came after her is my favorite part of the episode because I love like that. And what's her name? Amber Benson said that she didn't want to come back because she didn't want Tara to be seen in a good
I'm
light.
so
I
glad.
don't
I probably
care.
would have started crying. I would have
It's
started crying.
listen. Let me tell you something. I hate Tara. Tara. I'm glad Tara stayed
Uh-uh.
right in hell, right
Uh,
where she was.
excuse
But
me?
anyway,
Excuse
you
me?
you heard what I said.
Tara was not in
I
hell.
said
Tara made it to heaven.
what I
Tara
said.
made it to heaven. She made it.
Tara is
She
burning.
made it to the good part of heaven, not that desegregated part. That segregated part you're
Tara,
talking about.
Tara and Anya are down there burning
Uh
in the same
uh
place that
Anya,
Joyce is. In the
Anya and
same
Joyce
place
are
that
right
Joyce
down there,
is.
pig roasting together. But Tara made it to
Honey,
heaven.
honey, Tara, Joyce, and Anya are down there roasting together on a
Now,
spit
why is
roast.
Tara in hell? That's a good question. Why Tara in hell?
Because she deserves it.
Oh, baby, I'm sorry. Now Anya's in hell. Yeah,
Oh yeah, now
yes,
Anya
Anya too.
definitely.
Yeah,
I'm
Anya.
joking.
Yeah,
Now
she's
I'm
slow
joking. Now I'm
roasting.
joking about Tara and Joyce, but Anya's
Baby,
definitely down
Anya ain't have
there.
a chance. If Anya made it to heaven, so did Debbie Jelensky, and we all know she didn't make
Listen, listen, listen. Baby, when I tell you, if Anya made it to heaven,
it.
it's a free fall. Anybody can come up in there.
Child, look, Halford's finna be walking up in there, so
Baby, it's a party in Bikini Bottom. Because
okay.
when I tell you, if Anya made it to heaven, then child, I'ma know something.
Okay.
So, but
Mm-mm.
anyway, and so, but no, but all jokes aside, what I love the most about how they worked that in, I love the fact that she still didn't get a chance to see Tara, because that makes it even more agonizing. Like, yes, of course, it would have been horrible if she had seen Tara and then she realized that, the first was just using her visage, or is it visage or visage? I don't know. Either way, point is, I love the fact that Willow didn't get to see her, because that just increased that yearning to be with her and that need to be with her. Oh God, I love it. That's the kind of mental warfare I'm here for, because I'm messed up in head. In head.
And sir, I don't know how to say your name, Mr. Quintavious Carlisle. I believe I follow your page. I absolutely love it. I stitch do it a lot of your stuff. Listen, you are absolutely correct. I love all your content about Buffy. Kennedy is an absolutely hard. I will pick Dawn. Make Andrew a damn Slayer before you make Kennedy one, okay?
Not Andrew.
But I can't
See,
stand
but
Kennedy.
Rona made me mad with her little street tough. I hate the fact they made her, the black girl, a street tough.
When
Why?
she said
Like,
"Ding dong, the witch is dead," I'm like, "Why you say it like that, you hood?" I'm like, "Why did you say it so just so ghetto? Like, why did you say that?"
I said, now
Yeah,
she up.
yeah, Andrew. I cannot say Kennedy is literally the. I'm saying you. Who would have been a better Slayer before Kennedy? Hell,
Gone.
listen, bring back Kendra, bring her ass back. Don't let that girl be. Don't let her be one.
Not you would have a dead girl being a slayer before
I
you
damn
would
sure would.
Kennedy.
Damn sure would. Hell,
Bring
make
back
Joyce one.
bring back old girl that told Spike, tell my mother I'm sorry. Baby,
Ooh,
when
not a
that
Chinese player. No.
bring
My
back my
girl should have
girl.
won that fight. I'm sorry. See, stuff like that pisses me off. So Spike is not the girl they say that he is. So my
And
if
then let's just kiki real quick, because
uh
what I never could understand, and I'm not trying to be funny, and y'all please don't say I'm racist, but why were the two slayers of Spike kill women of color? Because I'm not understanding. I'm not picking up what they're putting down, because somebody's sitting right in my spirit. But then he fell in love with the white girl. I don't.
now I love Buffy down, but sometimes I'm like, because I'll be like, if you look at the way I think her name was Zen Wrong, how she fought. She was tearing Spike's ass up. I'm
She
sorry
was.
to tell you. She
Mhm.
like literally, if that explosion that came 2 seconds later, that would have been it.
Mhm.
Like Spike is
Mhm.
not a good fighter. He's a fighter of a circumstance. That's really it. So
When they had her get like kind of off balance for a minute, and then she went to reaching for that steak, I was like, "Girl, what are you doing? You are in
mhm.
a fight, honey. You need to be
But
aware."
if you notice, he killed her and he attacked Buffy in the same way, but Buffy was able to break out of the hold. If you notice that, and the Heart
Mhm.
Light of Day, and it
Mhm.
pisses me off because it's like I love Buffy down. I love
Mhm.
that's right. It is blatant racism. A lot of people have brought it up. I love Buffy down,
Well,
but
you know, one of my big things with Buffyana, and
mhm,
not her particularly, but the show,
mhm.
will always be, and I understand the reason they tried to give for it, but it just bothers me so bad when they replaced that dark skinned actress that played Nikki with that light skinned woman who looked older than her, but they were talking about she was gonna look too old. I said, oh, okay. We just, I don't know that like I remember because I wasn't like very aware of things when I was a kid because I was kind of naive with the world, but I remember visibly being like, who is that? Like I remember when he was talking to her in the thing and she was like, the person who sucked my neck and ate my spinal cord, you fought beside him. And I was like, who is that supposed to be? And when I went back and watched the episode, I was like, oh, that's supposed to be his mama? I was like, wasn't his mama dark like him? Like, he even looked like the first lady that played. That's why I couldn't understand, like, what the point of going back and recasting this person who was quote unquote younger. I was like, huh? Like, what was the purpose of this? I don't know. I don't know. It was very strange to me, and it felt very purposeful. But I could never put my finger on why. It just felt very purposeful.
Well, again, I love Buffy on the down, and I really do. But the conversation between her and the first Slayer will always irk me. I'm like, Buffy, I get, authoritative figures, and you don't really like the Charmed ones. You don't really have a lot of respect for the history and the stuff of your calling or your power.
Hmm.
But that
Hmm.
conversation, all right, you don't sleep on the bed of bones. You don't do this. Okay, we get it. But that is your mother. She is the first. Okay, like,
So let me tell you. Let me say this to you because I think that was gonna be now. Now this one I am finna put this from a writing perspective, and I'm sorry.
mhm,
I don't want you to think I'm trying to like because it. I think that scene was gonna be dicey either way you went
mhm.
because you have white people writing a white character talking to a black character.
Yeah, but it's like,
Which, and I'm not saying I don't want you to think I'm trying to say like, oh, that's why. What I'm
yeah.
saying is that's why it came out like that. Like that's one of those instances where I feel like the writing affected that because you have Buffy who's this like quip master, who comes up with it off the ram off the wham. But then, I do like the fact that they address like the Slayer line being started in Africa, right? I do like that. But that's what I mean when I say like those two things were gonna intersect and the way it was gonna come off was gonna be very but I feel like that's also a real world thing. So I'm saying that kind of like in the way I was talking earlier about how certain stuff with Charm was like storyline, and there's really nothing else you can say about that. That I think is one of those things that they handled poorly because they didn't take the time to think about what that scene needed to be. Like she could have said anything in the world other than I don't sleep on bones or pay with my food with EBT anymore.
Okay.
Like when she looked that woman dead in the face and said, "I actually use shampoo to wash my hair and not chalk because I can afford it and I don't live on Section 8." I said, Buffy.
We going a little bit, that wasn't in the script. Sarah, bring it back. I love you down. I argue for you, but I'll bring it back. Mm-mm.
Okay, so somebody said the Slayer line should have been all black women. I'm gonna tell you why I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that
Nah. Mm-mm.
because of the fact that what's black women have the gene. They can have any child. They can have any skin color. They originate. So of course, like literally, these are her children, not her children, because she probably ain't had no kids that we know of. But you know that's my thing. That's my little piece on that. Is I feel like the Slayer line kind of going to anybody at random is a testament to how with it starting in Africa and branching out, and everyone sort of came from there. And I don't know. I know I'm doing a poor job at explaining it, but you get what I'm saying.
If we had done that with them only being all black women, we would have erased some remarkable Slayers from the Slayer timeline. And as much as I like the idea of like all black Slayers, I mean, there's just a few problems, especially like with society during different like important periods. But
Hmm.
like we would have to erase Thessaly of Thessaloniki, and I'm just not willing to give her up. Like this girl went up against an army by herself, the Horde of Delphi. I mean, holy hell! So, yeah,
And then, and you know, you bring up a very good point. Is like from like a history perspective, that very much narrows down what the story is could be for
yeah,
them, because you going now, of course, you can go through like your Egyptian periods, you know. Periods like that where it's gonna be like princesses or even peasants or whatever in like their country, but then after a certain point we go into slave territory,
yeah. And
like,
then it's like,
and you know, you might go to France or something like that, but even then, it's probably still gonna be a slave story.
because it's like when we got to the slayer who was actually a slave, but was like, I there's just no way. Like
Mhm.
it's unrealistic, honestly, if you think about it. Because why the hell am I taking orders from these white men and I can like kill all of them and walk away?
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm. I could kill this entire house and no one would ever know.
I did actually watch Angel. I watched it all the way through. Now, I hated Cordelia on Buffy, but I loved her on Angel, if that makes sense. So
Ugh,
a lot
Cordelia.
of the characters they were able to flesh out more. Now, again, back to the treatment of black people. I don't know why Liam was speaking to Gunn, the only black character up there, like he was his manservant sometimes. Some of those
Mhm.
episodes made me kind of cringe,
Mhm.
just a little bit.
Mhm.
So, and then they would say
Mhm.
certain things to the black character, like, yeah, I'm not your homeboy. And then they would
Yeah.
have Cordelia say the R word all the time. I'm like, is there no other way to say something? Like, you
Yeah.
know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It
Yeah.
would just make me uncomfortable. But yeah, it was decent.
I'm gonna say this. The only part of Angel that ever made me like emotional, that like shocked me. There were two parts. I'm gonna say two parts. The one when with Buffy and Angel, when he was human and you know then he turned back into a vampire and like she didn't remember any of it. That made me emotional. But Fred, when Illyria took over her body, I cannot explain to you because I was 13, I think. I think I was like 13 when the episode came out. And I remember watching it because I was thinking like like my little 13-year-old brain was like they're not gonna do this, so I didn't get like too invested in it, you know, when she got sick, because I was like, okay, they're going to the well thing to go do whatever, and they're gonna find a cure, and they're gonna get the ancient one out of her, and we're gonna move on, and this is gonna be like some bad whatever. And so I remember being invested and being like, okay. And then I just kind of took myself out of it at a certain point. But when she was laying on that bed and all of a sudden started convulsing and then she flopped over on the floor, I was like, oh my God, Fred fell. And then when Illyria popped up, I was like, like I remember being shocked. And then when they were like, we can just get Fred back from whatever, wherever she went, and they were like, no, her soul was destroyed. Fred was destroyed. I was like, I remember being like, what are you talking about, bro? And then, when Illyria pretended to be Fred for her parents, get away from me. Get away from me. I cried. I actually cried because all I could think was they think they're talking to their child, and they're looking at her body. They're looking at her actual physical body, but she is gone, never to return. Child, mm-mm,
So,
mm-mm,
you know, I've always been
mm-mm,
critical of Cordelia. She got on my fucking nerves on Buffy because, you
mm-hmm,
know, the whole mean girl thing. Now, they allowed her to grow up and to flesh out the character. So, I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna hold you. I cried when she died on Angel. I'm sorry if
mm-hmm,
that was a spoiler, but
mm-hmm,
that her last
mm-hmm,
episode was literally so perfect. And when she was
mm-hmm,
like, "You're welcome," and Angel got
mm-hmm,
that call, and he
mm-hmm,
was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And turned around, and Cordelia wasn't standing there.
mm-hmm,
I tell you, I'm
mm-hmm,
tearing up now, so because it's just God, like, and it just
mm-hmm.
makes me sad because I feel like that's the Cordelia that if nothing else, they should have sent her back to Sunnydale because the
Yeah.
girl, I feel like, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm fully confident that had Cordelia been in the house, she would have advocated for Buffy to stay.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
not even
yeah,
know
yeah,
what was going on. Like, you're not gonna fucking kick Buffy out. Like, how many times has she saved the world? Like,
yeah.
exactly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm
You
so
know,
sorry, Mr. QH Carry O2. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, she did.
she died and became one of the powers that be. Didn't she become a power and then she came back?
Yeah,
Or
she
you talking
came
about in the
back and
comics?
then she was pregnant and it was just a whole thing. So,
Yeah, because they had to make her a power so that she could handle like getting pregnant with Jasmine.
hmm why did she never go back to Sunday? I don't poor writing, honestly. So I don't know. They would have like
Yeah.
cool tie-ins, but yeah. Mm-mm.
I don't know. I think I don't know. I'm on the fence about saying this, but I almost think that Cordelia worked better away from Buffy because
Yeah.
I think as long as she was there, you were gonna get their storylines being just a little too parallel, even if it was not intentional, even if it was unintentionally, you were gonna get their storylines kind of paralleling each other. Like, look at how much they've grown, look at how much they whatever, and they were adversaries and now they're friends. I think she worked better independent of Buffy.
Cordelia was about 22 whenever the finale of Buffy came. So I think my girl was just a little bit too long in the tooth to be called, but not
Well,
age shaming, but
but wasn't Kennedy about 37?
well, she was doing something that Cordelia wasn't doing, so which was unnatural all of itself, but still.
I remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, uh-uh. I remember. I remember when I first watched it. I remember when they showed at the end all the girls that got their powers that became slayers, and I don't know why, but I always got so like touched with that one, and I think it's because I have like a soft spot for kids that are being abused or whatever. So I'm just gonna say this. I'm not going too deep into it, but for anyone that may be triggered by it. But I just remember the girl that was, I think they were in like a trailer, and you could tell she was obviously in the process of being hit, and she stood up and she grabbed that hand and she looked up. I don't know why, like, of all the little story, the little mini stories they had of all the girls getting their powers, that one, we don't even know that girl's name. Don't know her name, don't know her story, don't know nothing about her. And I remember that one like touching me at like a deep level for some reason. And it was just a scene. It was like a moment of a scene. And I remember being like deeply touched by that.
It's just, a lot of them I would have got rid of, but the
Well,
thing is that Caleb actually backhanded Kennedy into that wine rack, and I just he didn't hit her hard enough to kill her actually, and then Xander helped her up, so it was
another
a
reason
team
Xander is
effort.
trash.
Yeah, should have lost both eyes, but.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
so you're the one who sees everything. Let's see what we can do about that.
Baby.
Mm-mm.
Gagatron.
Okay. Caleb looked my girl in the face and said, "You ready to finish this, bitch?" Had my girl stressed. Mm. My girl said, "How many times I gotta kill you?" Ballpark figure.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. But y'all, we've been here for 2 hours and 15 minutes at this point. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and wind it on down. Gonna take my happy go lucky self to sleep. Lay it on down for the day. Collins the Vampire Slayer, it was amazing talking to you.
As always, thank you, everybody. It's very nice to be in the presence of the King of Charmed.
If
I'm
you
touched. So
purr,
look, look,
purr.
look, look, I'm doing this. Look, I'm touched.
And if you ever unblock me, I guess we can talk on the phone. But
yeah. Hey, too much dip on your chip. Hold on, wait a
see, that's exactly what I'm talking about right there. That's exactly what I'm talking about right there.
minute.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. But anyway, y'all have a great night. I'll see y'all next Saturday. Collins the Vampire Slayer may be a guest. He may not. I don't know. But if he wants to come, of course he's invited.
Well, thank you.
You have a permanent spot as a guest host if you would like it.
Well, thank you. On Saturdays, I have to make sure I keep my schedule clear.
On Saturdays at 9 Central Time, because I'm not finna do all that translation
So
to your
that's
time.
10 o'clock my time then.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. But anyway, y'all have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.